Hello, good morning. Welcome to PsychCandy for Tuesday, November 22nd. Guys, it's been a hot minute since I've been on my normal schedule here, but good news is that the full schedule of the daily shows will continue back in December. So thanks for bearing with me. Had a lot of stuff going on, just in general, schedules and the holidays coming up and all that. So you just have to navigate sometimes. Plus, I've been preparing a lot of fresh content for you guys. And coming up in 2023, I will be the Sight Candy show is going to be turning into the Sight Candy morning show, and I will have a co-host with me, and yeah, it's going to be kind of taking a little bit of a different spin, different turn, but hopefully you guys will still enjoy and come and join me for those. Deanna, good to see you. Everybody that's out in YouTube land and Facebook land, welcome. Today I'm talking to you about how often have you heard to just let it go, but you actually knew how, and you did it. Now, most of us, you know, you hear that all the time. People are like, ah, yes, let it go. But that process of letting it go, that starts with a choice system. We got to choose that we want to let it go. And sometimes letting it go, though, also mounts up. It mounts up to the place that we have so many different layers, so many different aspects of things that have hurt us or things that people have done to us. All of these experiences, events. Well, that makes it sometimes hard for us to let it go. So we're going to dive into this topic today. So as I was just saying, past hurts, old injustices, well, they have a bitter and nasty way of keeping us kind of stuck in our tracks, unable to move forward or experience joy. It can take a radical reboot to just get past yesterday. You have to look closely, like a long shadow maybe clouding your future. And it's the shadow that's usually cast by the pain in your past. The parent who wasn't there, the ex who betrayed you, the boss who humiliated you. Or perhaps you're stuck in place by the unhappy residue of just your own bad choices, bad atmosphere, the job you should have left earlier, the sexual secrets you keep, the doctor's visit you delayed, and that list goes on and on. It is heart-stoppingly easy to get stuck in that darkness of bad memories. Their emotional quicksand exert a strong downward pull on your psyche. Sometimes the past traps us through the unexamined clutter, kind of spilling over from the tabletop, elbowing out the new and the possible, or commandeers your daydreams, obsessively replaying old losses, past injustices, nagging guilts, a person that you tormented, or maybe the friend that you let down, or the stuff that happened to you. Perhaps it lives in a litigation of a marriage, although the divorce is a decade old, or in rage against the parent who belittled you, or at yourself, because you once fell for someone and they lied to you. The strong urge to right wrongs that can never be erased, to revisit hurt from which you should have been protected, to cling to lost love, to brood, to avenge. I mean, these are natural inclinations to a point, and only for a time. But see, only for a time. Well, time's up. It's time to decide that time is up. Enough's enough. It's an axiom of psychology that we are some recombination of all of our yesterdays. To move forward wisely, we are therefore often urged to look back. But there's a point where appreciation and analysis of the past becomes a toxic slime covering your mental existence. Kind of sticks you in place, impedes forward motion. And then, like glue, it doesn't just disappear on its own. You need to do some scraping. You gotta pick it off sometimes a little bit. The power to get past the past does not lie primarily with the nature of events themselves. I mean, they count a lot for sure, but so do the steps forward that a person is willing to take and how much effort he or she is willing to expend to push some emotional rock up and out of the way. Getting unstuck involves remembering an injury, but reconsidering it from a different, more empathetic perspective. Moving forward may mean reconfiguring relationships so that you are less giving and more realistic. But it rarely means cutting off those ties. Think alteration, not amputation. Unless it's the toxic poison you need to shed, then by all means, shed it. Getting unstuck requires being truthful with yourself about how you feel. Still angry, sad, or anxious, even though you wish you weren't, but holding out the possibility that someday you might feel better. So, is there anything that you can't get over? Well, yes and no. You don't get over it, but you might find a different place to put it. You don't forget it, but the thought no longer intrudes. You don't pretend it wasn't bad, but you have a sense that you can heal. Look, we don't get over the past. We get past it. We learn from it. Realize that there are plenty of times when you will have to form your own closure for your own sanity. There are plenty of times you're not going to get the perfect closure moment that you might seek. You're not going to have that. You got to make it. You have to make that choice. Let's talk about the opening act. Getting past yesterday demands both thinking and doing. It's things we do as well as things that we think that holds us unwittingly in a painful place. Arguably, it's easy to shift behaviors. That is, once you pause to consider them. More intricately, getting beyond yesterday is a psychological high wire act of letting go, uh, of reevaluating experience and relinquishing old perspectives, of discarding cherished but mistaken beliefs, often about what it takes to be happy, of delicately but deeply recalibrating thoughts and feelings. You know, letting go means something has to open in your head and in your heart. But that shift, that easing, that comes up against our own invisible, often implacable resistance. A great deal of that resistance comes from nothing more pedestrian than just the great human reluctance to change. And even change for the better is still change, often initially dreaded and avoided. But look, we're creatures of habit and of inertia. A great deal of psychological research attests to resistance even to positive change. It is one of the great marvels of clinical observation of how much discomfort people can tolerate before they acknowledge that need for change. And change is always uncomfortable, at least at first. We don't like change. Change puts us into the unknown. Change can put us into that area that we start to try to struggle with. And sometimes that position of letting go, it means also shifting our emotional place, our position of what we have at that moment made our normal, of something we deal with, something we feel all the time. So we keep it there. We don't want to change past it. But at the same token, we do. It's a conundrum. You know, letting go fights more than the powerful magnet of the status quo. It also comes into conflict with compelling, distorted thoughts that make holding on appear reasonable and right. We are given to that magical thinking. Well, if I make more money, she will come back to me. Or to delusions. I must keep gathering this evidence. Somehow I can be proven right if I stick with it. Or other, maybe just to sheer errors of logic. My kids have never appreciated or admired my collections, but they will someday. That's why I have to hold on to all of it, and all of them. Each thought pattern is a cunning argument against letting go. Each needs to be directly challenged and then sometimes re-scripted before your heart and mind really open to a new state. This is a cycle which, unless changed, will inevitably make you what? Feel worse. It's not going to make you feel better. Sometimes it make you feel more confused, more depressed, more anxious. At its deepest level, the prospect of letting go forces us up against our three strongest emotional drivers: love, fear, and rage. Now, the tentacles of rage are easiest to understand, although difficult to escape. To let go of a past injustice that preoccupies us, we must relinquish our natural burning hope for equity, or at least for exposing to the world the wrongdoer. Your brother, your crooked business partner, your vicious former friend, for who and what they are, that becomes our focus. Dimming that eternal flame of rage is effortful. Like the bad guy won. It happens. Sometimes this takes us to that place where sometimes you have to form your own closure to a situation because you're not going to get that perfect alignment. You're not going to get that perfect place of, well, it all makes sense now. I've gotten my justice, or I've gotten my answer, I've got all this, and now I can let it go. Sometimes you're not gonna have that. You have to let it go. You have to make that choice. Then let's look at love. Love itself is a powerful counterweight to letting go. Even when a relationship is out of your life, long after the breakup, divorce, even death, it may occupy your heart and your head. Letting go means loosening that internal attachment and therefore losing that love again. What makes the fresh loss worthwhile, of course, is that letting go of the old attachment opens up the real possibility of a new attachment, of a new position in your life. Now, that would be sufficient, even inspiring motivation, except that it leaves a blank spot where the future lives. And we mostly fill such blank spots with what? Fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of failure, fear of future loss, fear of additional pain. Fear makes us cling to what we know. However bad it makes us feel, it still connects us to something familiar. Letting go means confronting these invisible emotional barriers, bringing them into your awareness, and then sometimes struggling against them. It means challenging irrational, unproductive thinking until you get your head on a straight path. It means facing up to your fear and calling on your courage and your character to face it down. And it means confronting your passionate attachment to a past love and reducing it from a boulder to a pebble. Put the pebble in your pocket. Keep it as a cherished reminder. Leave the room in your heart for something new. That's a very important point. So here's some sticking points I want you to consider. Now, there's an array of specific behaviors that tend to hold us in the past. Many of us keep our homes cramped with underused, outgrown, or unloved objects. Whether we're reluctant to face the emotional challenge of letting go or unwilling to invest the sheer time or effort it takes to divest, the mess clutters more than our closets. It clouds our vision and blocks positive change. If those drawers are crammed with unpaid bills, take special notice. Let crushing debt cast a long shadow. Debt kills your spirit and your possibilities. So face the problem. You know, Receiving alimony or the like is less obvious, but it's still potentially subversive enough to merit attention. There's no free lunch. It's good to get the money, but it often comes with high emotional interest. You may keep paying and paying in old anger and resentment. You see what I mean? And just like alimony, holidays can be a double-edged sword. Tradition is beautiful, meaningful, way overdone. If you're still enjoying that ritual, great. But you have a secret yearning to kind of break free, but feel you wouldn't be allowed. Well, maybe you don't have to be that stuck. Break the rule sometimes of Thanksgiving tradition. Break the rule of Christmas morning, and many other required behaviors change too. We are ramping up here, right? We are in the States. It's Thanksgiving week, and I already hear people complaining about having to go here, having to go there, having to do this, having to do that. I don't want to go sit with Aunt Lucy and Uncle Joe because all they do is criticize my life, tell me how I'm being a bad parent, or do. This is the what we ramp for, and then sometimes People are going putting themselves in that position to be fake, to put on that smile, to do their thing because we don't want to. We don't want to confront sometimes dealing with something like that. We also don't want to let go of certain assets because why? Sometimes we think it was going to be a problem for somebody else. I'm not saying be mean to family or anything. I'm saying though, look at your situation because sometimes it's okay for you to break the norm sometimes, especially if it's more healthy for you. It puts you in a position of being able to let go of the negatives that you continue to carry along, that you make your normal. And far too many people have those big boulders that they're carrying through the holidays, where people just dread it. People start dreading to be in this situation. And finally, fearsomely, there's that thing we do behind our own backs because we know we shouldn't do it. Once you listen to this, we continue contact sometimes with the very person or stay connected to that very situation that was destructive in the first place. We often don't get better until we stop going there, until we stop connecting to it. You know that. You just don't want to face it. It's easier to just, well, I'm just going to keep putting that smile on, you know? Starting at the deep end, acknowledge your secrets. Nothing else is to cost more than the energy it takes to keep them. Then move forward by making a frank assessment of your character traits. Do you have a taste for blame? Pointing the finger feels good, right? It's habit forming, but it makes you powerless. And now take a hard look at your habits of thinking. Have you allowed yourself to develop a rigid mindset? And if so, know that you are trading the pleasure of certainty for the possibility of change. And you might want to just pause, examine your most cherished memories, namely those of past happiness. And from a distance, flaws disappear and good shimmers through. That's a joy, but it might make current reality dim by contrast. Sometimes when we are carrying all this that we're not letting go, we got to remember we are choosing to hold on to the negative, which does take up space where happiness could be. And even if you're not ecstatically overjoyed, you still could leave room for at least some peace. So it's not just so much negativity all the time, because that's what a lot of people do. We build, we hold on to the negative, and we make room for the negative, and then we just keep piling that in. If you try to start exercising some of these points, that you stop any of these things we've been talking about, you will come unstuck. But to move forward requires positive action. As we know all too well, without effort, yesterday hangs around on its own. Now I'm going to leave you and close out with 6 steps here. Number 1, anchor yourself in the future. It's hard to let go of the past in the absence of a positive view of tomorrow, right? You need a vision of the future, an investment in, a distraction through, or an excitement about something ahead will supply that energy and the will to push you beyond the past. And creating it requires deliberate mental focus. Force yourself to take an online class with an eye toward getting a different degree, maybe. Or hire a trainer, keep detailed records of progress you make. But create a new target or envision something more positive ahead. Give yourself a goal to work towards. And this will help drag your ass out of that quicksand of yesterday. Because we need that. We have to focus and have a target sometimes. And having that target helps us stay in line for something. It helps us feel better when we accomplish things. We start reaching those milestones. That's a positive. And then that's starting to remove some of that negative to where we can have that space to bring in some of that peace, some of that clarity, some of that joy. I mean, sure, finding your way forward can sometimes be a fate. The new cozy nest will take the edge off the painful loss of an old family setting. But you got to look at a lot of situations. Maybe the job is a better fit may make the last, humiliating failure appear as a blessing. You've heard that sometimes. That, yeah, this is horrible. It happened, but here's the positive came from it. You know, I've had a lot of those situations in my life, and sometimes it took that situation, it took something happening to shift me out of that negativity, and then it turned around and became a blessing. The number two thing is discard. Now, I tell people whenever they come to me for therapy, one of the first questions I ask is, I want you to look around your house, look at your living room, your atmosphere. Is it messy? Is it cluttered? Do you have stuff just piled everywhere? Are you a hoarder? you know? And let me tell you something. Your living space is indicative of your mental space. You don't want to be in a situation you can barely find a pathway from the kitchen to the living room or something like that. But it is. It's indicative of how we live is a reflection of how we think. It sends a message about how open you are to rebuilding and change too. Like ruthless discard is a necessary path forward under special life circumstances. When you're merging with a new partner, sometimes you're into a new life. Nobody needs two brown couches, right? Or more commonly, discard when you are downsizing. At any point in life, you might find it useful to just move forward by just simply simplifying. If you are sinking under past acquisitions, broken toys, oversized mortgages, messy basements, stuffed closets, well, discard. Whether by donating, selling, or simply just trashing. Sometimes that's your only way forward. Buried somewhere under everything that you've bought, you're likely to find something of real value that you forgot about. And the same thing applies to our mindset. Okay, number three is to repair. I want to ask you now to kind of look at your history. Are there people that you've wronged in some way or a situation that's just unsettled? One solid way to get past the past is to restore to a better whole those relationships. Sometimes the ones those relationships that are frayed, whether from confused misunderstanding or a reluctance to see your part in a past conflict. You didn't steal, but you come to see that you've done damage. And who hasn't? We're humans. We make mistakes sometimes. Maybe you were consistently mean to a sibling, or harsh with a parent, or abusive to an ex, or unsupportive to a friend in need. Well, that list can go on and on too. But we have to also remember that we are human. We are going to make mistakes, and we have to step up sometimes to address. Hey, you know what? I know I hurt your feelings. I'm sorry. I know that I did this, and I'm sorry. I want to repair. And even if they're not ready to forgive you, you've at least asked them to, and you've at least addressed. That's a version of that is the point of letting something go, because you have to also forgive yourself in those moments. We are all human. We are all going to make mistakes. We're going to screw up sometimes. We're going to say the wrong things sometimes, do the wrong thing, and then if we hold on to that and just beat ourselves down for it, that's not good either. It's hard to make amends, and that starts with making amends with yourself as well. Now, making amends rarely means anything, like everything's just the minute you say it, it's just done. Well, that takes both sides, but you got to start with that process for you. Number four is transform your narrative. Simply put, we are our story. Not so much the story of events in our lives, but the story that we tell ourselves about the role that we played in those events. Whether it be hero or victim, beloved or unworthy, confident or fearless, it's still our story. And one powerful strategy for easing the pain of the past is to rewrite key aspects of the story from a more balanced, empathetic perspective. A healthy rewrite makes you less victimized, less devastated, less lost than less lost than the one that you told yourself at the time of the original injury. It reduces that deep rage, sometimes that loss and fear that have been holding you back. Now, rewrites do not attempt to change the facts of the narrative. They simply see those facts through more mature, more empathetic, and less injured eyes. And those eyes are the ones that are going to help you let go. And this one's important. Number 5 is to forgive. This transformed narrative is a step along that jagged, rockiest path toward forgiveness. Is it really possible to be deeply hurt, unjustly treated, grievously wrong, and forgive the perpetrator? Well, it is. I've seen it. And it is the most profound way to free yourself from the emotional intrusions of the past and then cleanse yourself of the poison that it left inside of you. It's hard too. I've been there many times in my life. And to forgive somebody that you held so much anger towards or so much hurt towards and all of these things, it's hard to do that forgiving to way you mean it. It's genuine. You're truly forgiving and letting go. Because what is it doing for you to hold on to that? Nothing. It's causing you to carry poison, and it can cause you to treat new people in your life differently or with a lesser version of who you are and what you really intend because you're still holding on to this kind of toxicity. It helps to understand what parts of yourself you're up against. You know what I mean? Like, when we are deeply wronged, there are powerful rewards to staying angry, right? Rage is like that giant billboard advertising the evils of our assailant. Forgiveness, on the other hand, can feel as if you're letting the bad guy off the hook, but you're even endorsing it or something. And that feels like, no, thank you. That's intolerable in my mind because you're locked in that anger. Too, anger can be very motivating. It gives us that courage to confront that unfair person, the energy to get through the painful trial or something. And that's a lot to give up, isn't it? Just for the sake of forgiveness. You'll have to come to believe that there is more to be gained by forgiving than by staying angry. And there is. Usually and eventually, there is. When there's no longer a constructive action step to be taken that requires your anger as its fuel, the cost to you of that rage you are carrying exceeds the rewards of punishing the offender. At that moment, forgiveness is possible. But we have to get there sometimes. Forgiveness is a decision, not a capitulation. It says, you wronged me. I didn't deserve it. I've been angry long enough. I am laying down my anger because I don't need to carry it anymore. Think about how hard that is, but also think about how liberating that is, how free that can be. Forgiveness also applies to the ruthless self-injury some of us inflict for the shortcomings of our own imperfect selves, for the hurtful lie that you told, the opportunity that you blew, the money misspent, the taxes unfiled, yada yada, the time you called your child stupid or lazy, for any and all those things for which you're beating yourself up. Take one or all of these steps to forgive yourself. You have to be able to find that place of position and place of clarity that you identify and address you. And the last point, and that goes with this: learn to be present. Nothing, not one single technique or inner evolution is as powerful an antidote to the past as the capacity to be present in the here and now. I want to live today. I don't want to live in my yesterday. I want to embrace my goals for tomorrow. I want to embrace where I am now. I want to embrace what I'm feeling now. I don't want to sit here and wake up and think about how mad I am at something that happened 2 years ago. I don't want to hold on to that toxic. I don't want to hold on to that negativity. I don't want to drag myself down. I want to elevate. I want to hold on to all the promises and possibilities that I could have laying in front of me. And what my thing is today, unfortunately, our natural capacity for that focus is severely limited by those great emotional magnets of past and future, which are fear, love, rage, anxiety, shame, regret, even fantasy. The ability to focus on the present is amenable to improvement. The technique through which you better that capacity is mindfulness, a practice in which you note in a non judgmental way the thoughts and sensations occurring at this very moment, right now. And let me tell you something, guys. Mindfulness is an acquired skill. It takes some time to sometimes get there, but its stress reduction benefits are very well documented. And there are many positive emotional and spiritual side effects. And it still has bonuses. Because as your skill at mindfulness increases, you will, by definition, get past the past. It's very difficult. We have gone through so many different things, so many bad situations. We've heard so many bad words. We've had so many maybe bad things done to us, or we've done negative, and it layers off, and we start doing that boxing mentality. And we start putting those feelings or those hurts or those angers, we put it in a box, and then we're going to put that box very neatly up on a shelf somewhere. But now what are we doing? Now you're doing that mental hoarding thing. And now you're gonna keep doing that until, guess what? You're trying to navigate that path between the kitchen and the living room in your brain. We don't want to do that. And mindfulness gives you that ability to say, you know what? Well, I'm going to take this box and I'm going to see what's in it. And do I need to be holding on to this anymore? I don't. And you get rid of it. You let it go. You give yourself permission. That's important key right there is we have to give ourselves permission sometimes to move forward. And that means that you are non judgmentally loving yourself. You're listening to yourself and you're elevating yourself. You're honoring your being. You're honoring your life and you're honoring where you are right now and where you want to go tomorrow. And where you want to go tomorrow is not to go back and relive the past. It's to make a new chapter. Do something new. Do something different. Do something that's free. Get yourself to liberty. Really quick, I want to thank you guys for being here. We have Luchak down here, Thunder, Nikki, Tian, everybody watching out. Thank you guys for being here. And remember this. We're coming up to the end of the year. Right? We're going to have everybody talk about, like, oh, what we're going to do next year. What are my goals? What are my New Year's resolutions? Well, this gives you time. You have about a month and a half left. Well, use that time to try to get a little mindful. Make a plan for 2023. Make a plan to do something brand new for you. Do something that's going to make you feel better, healthier, happier, some joy, some peace. Give yourself some room. Clear out that old, nasty, negative stuff so that you got room to write those beautiful new chapters of everything you want for that new year and everything that you need and want in your life. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be very happy to do it. Well, guys, I hope you were able to pull something from this today. Thank you so much for being here. Again, my normal schedule is Monday through Friday, 11:30 a.m., and that will be kicking back off as usual in December. So thank you guys for being patient for the spaces I've had in between shows. But I got a lot of good fresh content coming for you. And yeah, but until next week, guys, I hope you are blessed. I hope you have a fantastic, fantastic time with your family. If you're celebrating here in the States and you're doing Thanksgiving or whatnot, I hope you have a beautiful time. And remember, it's okay to say no to being in certain situations. No is a complete sentence. You need to take care of you. And don't add extra stresses. Don't add all the extra negativity. Work around it this time. Give yourself permission to do something different if need be. All right, guys. Till next time, be happy, be blessed, and most importantly, be you. Cheers.